Namaste. Today I'm going to read Volume 1, Book 2, Rudra Samhita, Part 2, Chapter 37, Destruction of Dakshas, Sacrifice in the Shiva Puran. Vakratul Mahakaya Surya Koti Samprabha Nirvignam Karaya Sarvakaya Sarvakaya. Hariom Tatsat. Brahma said, mentally meditating on Shiva, the remover of all adversities, and seated in his divine chariot, the powerful Virabhadra took up all the great miraculous weapons for his fight with Vishnu and roared like a lion. Vishnu, the powerful, loudly blew his conch, Pankajaya, delighting his own people. On hearing the sound of the conch, the Devas who had fled before, leaving off the battlefield, returned quickly. The guardians of the quarters, including Indra, roared like lions and fought forcefully with the gunners of Virabhadra. A noisy, terrible fight ensued between the gunners and the guardians of the quarters, both roaring like lions. Indra fought with Nandi, the fire god, with Asman, and the powerful Kubera fought with Kusmandapati. Nandi was hit hard by Indra with the thunderbolt that had 100 spikes. Indra was hurt in the middle of his chest by Nandi with the trident. Nandi and Indra both equally powerful, fought with each other gleefully and hit each other in diverse ways with a desire to overpower each other. The infuriated fire god hit Asman with his spear. He too hit back the fire god with his trident of very sharp point. Mahaloka, the heroic chieftain of the gunners, remembered Lord Shiva with joy and fought with Yama. Chanda, the brawny, grappled with Nirta and mortified him with many great miraculous weapons. The powerful hero Munda fought with Varuna, surprising the three worlds with his great spear. Bringi was struck by the wind god with his weapon of great force. Vayu was struck in return by Bringi with a powerful trident. Meditating on Lord Shiva in his heart, the strong and heroic Kusmandapati clashed with Kubera and fought terribly. Splitting up all the Devas, the great leader of Bhairavi, in collaboration with the circle of yogins, drank much of their blood. Desirous of gobbling up the leading Devas, Kali split them and drank their blood. Kshetrapala too did the same. Then Vishnu, the slayer of enemies, and who was excessively brilliant, hurled his discus and fought with them. The discus seemed to burn the 10 directions. Kshetrapala saw the discus coming on. He ran to the place and bravely caught hold of it. On seeing the discus held in his mouth, Vishnu, the conqueror of enemies, cities, caught hold of his throat and made him spit out the discus. Regaining his discus, Vishnu, the sole sustainer of the world, of great dignity, became very angry. In that infuriated state, he took up different weapons and fought with the brave warriors. Vishnu fought a great battle with them by hurling many weapons and evincing boisterous display of his terrific exploits. Bhairava and others displayed their strength furiously by hurling several weapons, and by fighting with him. Virabhadra saw their battle with Vishnu of unequaled splendor, returned and clashed with him in a great battle. Then Vishnu, of great brilliance, lifted up his discus and fought with Virabhadra. O sage, a terrible fight provoking Harapalation took place between Mahabali and Varuna with various weapons. Thanks to the yogic power of Vishnu, innumerable soldiers, terrible and wielding conch, discus and mace in their hands, emerged from his own body. They too fought against Virabhadra, who continued to shout. These strong groups of warriors were as strong as Vishnu and had various weapons with them, remembering Shiva, his lord, and hitting them who were as lustrous as Narayana. With his trident, he reduced them to ashes. The most powerful Virabhadra struck Vishnu in the chest playfully with his trident in the course of the battle. O sage, hit suddenly by that blow, Vishnu, Purushottama, fell unconscious on the ground. Then arose a wonderful brilliance as terrible as the fire at the time of dissolution. It seemed to burn all the three worlds. It was severe and terrifying even to great heroes. That glorious lord, with eyes red by anger, got up again. The best of beings lifted up his discus and stood ready to fight. Virabhadra, of no weak soul, nay, identical with Lord Shiva, held his terrific discus, luminous like black sun, suspended and motionless. O sage, thanks to the power of Shiva, the great Lord controlling Maya, the chakra held in the hand of Vishnu became stunned and motionless. Vishnu, who was kept stunned by Virabhadra of eloquent words, who was the lord of the Ganas, remained motionless like a mountain. O Narada, when he became benumbed and stunned, Vishnu repeated formulas for redemption from torpidity. O sage, becoming freed from the stunned state, Vishnu became infuriated and took up his bow and arrows. O dear sage, Vishnu's bow was attacked with 3 arrows by Virabhadra, whereupon it split into 3 in a thrice. Then Vishnu was enlightened by the great voice that the great Ganas were invincible. He therefore thought of vanishing from the scene. On coming to know that all this was bound to happen, brought about by Sati, so unbearable to all others, all of us went to our respective worlds after duly remembering Shiva, the independent Lord of all. When I returned to Satyaloka, the grief of my son afflicted me much. In my miserable plight, I pondered over what shall be done by me. When Vishnu and I had gone accompanied by devas and sages, all those who were left there, those who maintained themselves through sacrifices, were utterly defeated by the Ganas. On seeing the disorder of utter destruction of the great sacrifice, the sacrifice itself, being afraid, assumed the form of a deer and fled. Virabhadra seized it as it was fleeing up the sky in the form of a deer and beheaded it. Then the heroic Mahagana Virabhadra caught hold of Prajapati, Dharma, Kashyapa, Aristaniman, the sage with many sons, the sages Angiras, and Krisava and the great sage Datta, and kicked all of them on their heads. With the tip of his fingers, he cut off the tip of the nose of Saraswati and of Aditi, the mother of Devas. Virabhadra showed his exploits thus. Similarly, the infuriated Virabhadra, with eyes blazing, cut off the other devas too and threw them on the ground. Even after mutilating the chief devas and sages, he never became calm like the king of serpents, whose anger had been aroused. After uprooting his enemies like a lion, the elephants of the forest, Virabhadra surveyed all the quarters frequently to know who is where. He struck and smashed Brigu, while the valorous Manibhadra kicked him on his chest and plucked off his mustaches. Chanda forcibly plucked off the teeth of Pusan, who had formerly laughed and showed his teeth while Shiva was being cursed. Nandi plucked out the eyes of Bhaga, who was felled on the ground with anger because it was he who winked at Daksha while cursing. Svadha, Swaha, Daksina, Mantras and Tantras, all those who were there, were molested and mortified by the leaders of Ganas. The Ganas furiously showed filth and rubbish. The Ganas furiously showered filth and rubbish on the sacrificial fire. The heroic Ganas made the sacrifice inexpressibly impure. After coming to know that Daksha had hidden himself behind the altar due to his fright, Virabhadra dragged him out with force. He was caught hold of by his cheeks, his head, and was struck with the sword. Due to the yogic power of Daksha, it could not be split. Thinking that his head could not be pierced or cut with weapons, he kicked his chest with the foot and rested the head with his hand. Virabhadra, the leader of the Ganas, threw the head of the wicked Daksha, the enemy of Shiva, into the fire pit. Virabhadra, whirling the trident in his hand, looked splendid indeed. The angry Ranaksa and Samvarta looked like the blazing mountains. After killing them without difficulty, Virabhadra, in his fury, burnt them in the fire like a blazing conflagration consuming moths. Seeing Daksha and others entirely burnt, he laughed boisterously, filling the three worlds with the sound. He was surrounded by heroic glory. Then a divine shower of flowers originating from the celestial park fell over Virabhadra, accompanied by his Ganas. Cool breezes blew gently, fragrant and pleasing. Divine drums sounded simultaneously. The hero who had accomplished his duties went to Kailasa quickly, like the sun who quells darkness. On seeing Virabhadra, who had fulfilled his task, Lord Shiva was pleased, and he made him the presiding officer of his Ganas. Footnotes. (329) Manibhadra is the brother of Kubera and chief of the Yakshas. He is the tutelary deity of travelers and merchants. Pusan is represented as toothless. The cause of his being toothless is variously explained. According to the present text, it was Chanda, the follower of Virabhadra, who uprooted his teeth. Here ends today's reading of the Shiva Puran. Om Prabhu Pradanatam Vyobeshanatam Chagannatanatam Satam Shivam Shankar Om Kapura Karam Karam. Om Hari Om Tat Sat.